Love is Blind, Season 8, Episodes 10 through 12. How are we feeling? Um, General consensus is that, yeah, this is the most boring season ever. But despite that, I'm still incredibly grateful to be here covering this because I still love the show and I like that we have a lot of things to talk through. And even though these are some boring situations with some boring people, that all look the same. I like I'm gonna get into the little notes about what stood out to me about these episodes. And yeah, so let's just get into it. Normally I have some questions for the comments, but I feel like I should get into them as the situations present themselves because I feel like they're kind of specific to what's going on, yeah, as these episodes unfold. Okay, so I normally split up the my what stands out to me through the episodes. This time I'm like it's kind of loosely going by the episodes. I didn't mark when the episodes end or started, so we're just gonna go through it. Okay, so we have the first episode scene. Spent the night apart. Dave, ugh, you're so disappointing. Lauren was rightfully upset about it because she just really wants to communicate. And regardless of how you feel about the whole Dave and Lauren thing, whether or not you feel as though Dave is in the right because you couldn't see yourself getting over somebody having a physical relationship with somebody like a couple weeks prior, 2 weeks prior, or you think that Lauren is more in the right because she's trying her hardest and she's not acknowledging, the root of this is just like these people should not be together. Lauren should not, like, regardless of like if you think that one is more right than the other, this is a fundamental, like, fundamentally they just do not agree and they should not be together. I am more so on Lauren's side because it feels a little bit shamey. It's a little shamey. I'm scared to say that in the first like 3 minutes because YouTube will punish me. But I don't I don't like the situation. I don't like it for Lauren. I think Dave is it's kind of hard to like say he's the villain of the season because he's not like a blatantly overtly like evil and deceptive. He's just really annoying. Anyway, okay, right? Let me know, is Dave the villain or is he just like let me know. So when they're having this, oh my god, dude. Okay, when they're having this, I have this thing that takes my notes and it almost broke. Uh, when they're having this little conversation, not gonna lie, I liked Dave's hoodie. I tried to look it up and I couldn't find it. Dave, drop the affiliate link. I'll support you, Unc. If you do, I swear, like, I thought that fit was cute. If anybody knows where the heck that hoodie is from, I legitimately do. Like, thought that was anyway. So Dave is recounting what the heck happened, and he said that he went to a bar with friends, and it's so crazy how certain conversations and situations on Love Is Blind will be like mirrors to what happened in previous seasons. Like this situation is very similar to whatever the heck other thing was happening on, was it season like 6, where it was Jerame and what's her name, uh the blonde and Jerame, and he was out with a bar and he was like, yeah, I saw some pod people, but like I just saw Sarah. That was okay. I felt remnants of that situation in this situation. And Dave was like, yeah, I went to a bar with friends and I saw some pod people, but I was like, nope, not gonna, I'm not gonna entertain that. That's such a bad idea. Something about that felt not real. Something about that felt like you're saying that because it's like I don't know. Um, it's so hard to watch these scenes honestly, just because I just feel like Lauren is just trying so hard and trying so hard to be just communicative and open. Um, and Dave is just he's just making it difficult. He's just making it difficult for real. Um, Joey and Monica. They have a little photo shoot that the sister sets up because the sister's a photographer. It's very interesting that the sister's a photographer. You would think she'd be like something much more cynical, something that is like I literally could see her being a dominatrix before I could see her being a photographer. because she's just so, like, the way that she kind of turned on the whole photographer, like, okay, now we're gonna try this, how about you, blah blah blah, oh my god, you look you have to have that type of a personality, and she does it because we've seen it. um so they have the photo shoot, which is kind of like a also a little bit of an excuse for them to get together all three and talk about the sisters issue, which is very mature of all of them to get together and talk. As much as it was like awkward, and honestly not awkward in the way that people were being awkward and their awkward silences, I felt awkward for the fact that it was like, hey, we're going to talk to you because you have a problem with Joey that doesn't make any sense at all. So if you could just lighten up and just grow up and just recognize that, like, this guy is like good, I would appreciate that. It felt weird for Monica to kind of advocate for Joey when Joey's like right there. It felt kind of like this conversation feels like it should be happening between just the sisters, because Joey shouldn't have to, like, I guess it is nice that Joey is there so he didn't have to. It just felt weird. It just felt a little bit weird because it's like the only reason that they're in this position is because the sister literally just like has this stupid little thing against him. But I feel like the way that it was talked out was more mature than just like, well, I just want to get married first. It was kind of like, you know what? I have come around to Joey, and she said that she felt like Joey had a ton of energy. Just weird. I mean, like, he does have a lot of energy, but then she follows it up with like, our family are like nappers. Like, we just like nap. What the are you talking about? We just nap? What are you saying? Joey and Monica match each other's energy every single time, every single scene. And his family very much matched her family. Like, it felt like one of the easiest like family home visits that we've ever seen on the show. So it's like literally like, who do you like, it's not like it just felt like that was just out of nowhere, like, to be like, my family, you're just a lot and my families are nappers so we can't, like, I don't know. But I do have to give it to her for coming around, right? I don't want to be so hard on the sister, but I feel like the sister, because she brought up like an issue with him, about him like putting it on, but like we know Joey, so it just is a little hard to hear like any criticism of our boy. um it just kind of felt like I feel like I'm always gonna have, always, as if this show isn't gonna like last one more episode. Two, it just felt like a little bit hard to hear the sister out and to be like, you know what, she came around, like, good for her, because it felt a little bit like I feel like you're pulling these things out to just be upset for some reason. Anyway, yeah, so we're happy for Monica's sister and the family to all get along, because I think that they're both going to say yes at the altar. And if they don't, I feel like they're going to stay together and then eventually get married later. What do you guys think about Joey Monica and then Joey Monica and sister dynamic? I thought it was a little weird just on the sister's part, but I'm happy that they all at least like came together. Um, okay. Ben and Sarah. Ben and Sarah talk about the whole TikTok. And you know what? I think I've changed my stance on this. At first, I was kind of like in the place of advocacy that I think Sarah is arguing with herself with, of like, why would somebody make a TikTok? Why is she crying? This clearly affected her so much. I'm not just gonna dismiss her because she made a TikTok, like that means something. But then Ben is more, that was just that's what I was thinking. But when I'm watching the TikTok, it was really vague. It was really vague. It also kind of felt like maybe she was upset that he ghosted her and then he hurt her feelings, but it wasn't like a serious, because it wasn't a serious allegation, because it kind of felt like it was like a, this guy hurt my feelings and he's saying all these things on television and it doesn't align with my experience with him or my experiences with him. Now I have the ability to go on and like cry about it. And I'm not gonna negate this girl, but it also is kind of like, I'm not a Ben advocate at all, but it kind of felt like, if you were going to come on TikTok and talk about things that are vague about this thing and about this date, about like one time you went on a date with this guy 4 years ago, and then they're talking about on the show, like, I want more serious things to be brought up as opposed to just like these vague little like, oh, this guy was just really like he doesn't actually really want marriage, and we went on a date. Do you know what I mean? Okay. um because yeah, I mean, some people are, I feel like a lot of podcasters are saying it's giving clout chaser, and I want to be on that level because feels like it is, but I also do want to be empathetic, because clout chaser just sounds really harsh, because that girl was just kind of probably didn't expect anything to go super crazy, but maybe she did. I don't know her. I don't know intentions about anybody. But Sarah then kind of goes more into hearing him out about it, is more open to the conversation. And Ben this whole time has just been like, I don't know where that came from, honestly. And I don't know, I kind of just don't trust that, because it's not that convincing to me. Nobody's convincing to me in this situation except for Sarah, because Sarah's just an onlooker and being like, hey, we need to talk about this like fully, and I want to lean into understanding. But Ben's like, I don't know where that came from. The TikTok girl is like, oh my god, oh my god. And then also, I'm upset with the TikTok girl, because I watched the first TikTok and I was like, okay, give us little to nothing, no concrete information. But then second TikTok, she spoiled the show. I like that was like, girl, so I hate when people spoil the show and just say it, like, and they gave no warning that she was gonna do that. Like, just spoke about it, and then now like the show is ruined. Like, not ruined for me, but Ben and Sarah, like their situation, I know like the full details of what happens with them, and it's like, anyway, um, so whatever. Sarah is more open to hearing him out. Good for her. I don't love Ben and Sarah. I like Sarah a lot more than I like Ben. And I just have a feeling that she's kind of trying to talk herself into this, because he has a lot of like traits of like a good guy, and he's like a typical Midwestern guy, like avoidant guy. um but I think the fact that like he's not saying the wrong things is just what's kind of getting to her. Like, he's saying so many like good things that are not like accurately like directly addressing what she is so passionate about. um but I have a feeling that like she's just kind of leaning into it because she's like attracted to him, likes that he validates her, but he's not giving the substance that she's giving. Anyway, we have Virginia and Devon. Um we meet Virginia's mom. And honestly, like, I even debated if I wanted to talk about this, because I'm trying to talk like the standout moments of these, and like everything about Virginia and Devon just like, they just feel so dull, you know. Virginia feels like she feels really reserved, and like every time she talks she'll be like, thank you, sing, I'm so happy, and he's such a, she just feels like she's like talking like to the side, or like she never like will, well, she might fully address somebody and look at them in the eye, but sometimes she just is like off to the side and like, well, I don't know. um but it's hard to connect with them because I just feel like I don't know much about Virginia even after meeting her mom, except for the fact that her parents divorced, which is like everyone is divorced. um it's hard also because I feel like when you meet the parents and you meet the family, you have to say the right things. And then if you like mess up on like one thing that they don't want to hear, then the dramatic music comes on and it's like, oh, can you like expand on that? And then they get into like a whole like tense conversation, but it's not like nothing horrible. Also, I do like the fact that the mom asked, do you think it's okay to argue? That is such a good question when you're trying to get to know somebody. Is it okay to argue? I personally think that it is okay to argue as long as you keep things respectful and you are dedicated to understanding the person that you are in an argument with. Like, what is the root of that argument, and how are you going to move past the argument, finding value out of the conversation, you know? But Devin basically said that exact thing. Not like that exact thing, but basically was like, I think it's good to have a conversation. I don't think it's good to like be argue. Yeah, I don't I just don't like, it's so hard to comment on them because I just don't feel connected to them at all. And typically with like black couples, I feel like we know them. you know? I don't know. We have David. Oh, I kind of spoke a little too soon because we do kind of talk about more things that are very deep, like that are deeper for them later. So we have Dave and Lauren. We meet her mom, and I'm glad that it's Lauren's family first because, like, girl, Lauren's mom grill him, like, put his feet to the fire. Dave's mom or Lauren's mom. Also, it was weird because, whenever she was coming up, well, no, whenever they were coming up to meet her, he was like, "I wonder what your mom looks like," and she's like, "My twin." Some of you guys have been lied to for your whole entire life and never question it and just be repeating my twin. They don't look like that similar. There are some parents who look like copy and paste to their children. You, like, biologicals, because I'm adopted. Like, I feel like I have like an. Let me get off of this. It does not matter. But some of y'all think you look like your parents' twin and you are cousins. So, also I feel like it was edited weird because when Lauren's mom was like, "Tell me what you're like, tell me about you. What are you about?" He's like, "Well, I feel like because my friends been having kids, I have been wanting to have kids too." Like, that's a really weird way to start off the conversation. Like, in a lot of ways, I don't like to think about Netflix's editing in this. I would like to just go off of what they're presenting us. But the fact that he started off being like, "Well, here's something about my friends that also says something about me because I care about my friend," I thought that was a little weird. I kind of feel like that's highly unlikely that conversation went that way, especially after Lauren posted on Instagram like the criticism of like the fact that people are hating on them because of like an edited conversation. It kind of makes me feel like that doesn't feel right. So maybe it's not. Let me know how you feel about that. But I thought it was a little odd. Anyway, um, Dave is kind of filling her in, and then of course we get to this stupid. Well, it's been a little hard for us because of the whole like chatter from the outside world. We get a lot of chatter from the outside world. My friends and my family, my sister, my sister, my sister, my sister. Hey, hey, how much you? Anyway, like, oh my god, I'm so annoyed. And this is, of course, not the last time we're gonna hear about this stupid conversation about my friends and my sister and my dad. Oh my god. Like, get a life outside of your like outside of your friends and family, dude. Like, I don't know. Um, the mom is like, "So your friends, like, is that gonna be okay?" And then Dave's like, "Yeah, they're fine. No, they're fine." And she's like, "Really? Really?" Because Lauren has been, stress talking about this whole situation. And I think it was like the day before, Lauren and her mom had met up. She probably like is close with she's saying out here saying with my twin. So they're probably talking at in length about it, depth about this. Because he's like giving her such a hard time. And so of course she's ranting about it to somebody. And he's like, "They're my round," and he's just kind of it's weird because he is being authentic about the fact that they are going through these things, but then also still kind of trying to like appeal. uh, it just is weird. I don't know, but there's a lot of like the mom being like, right, yeah, yeah. The Midwest overactive listening, like the whole like, yeah, I understand, but it's really like, that she's probably like, you're being so stupid. Like, let this go. Like, the friends, the family, stop. Because the way that she was responding was just kind of like, it's a really like it's a bad big deal because you're making it like a big deal, and it's okay. So then we have Taylor and Daniel. We have the putt putt golf slash marriage license talk. They catch up about work. The one thing I wanted to talk about this is Daniel brings up how being at work is tough because he gets distracted. That is so understandable. Can you imagine going on Love Is Blind and still having to do your job? Just do your job, dude. I couldn't focus on work like a couple of days, like the day after the like election happened. What was it the day after? Because I was just like, this is like this is ridiculous, and like this event is what the heck, you know? But the idea of being on a whole entire reality TV show and like being on camera and getting to know someone on camera and like thinking about getting married, that's crazy. So happy that Dano brought that up because it's like I can't even imagine what that's like to like do your typical job and also be on Love is Blind. What? Okay, so then we have Devon and Virginia. Virginia and Devon talk about the hard questions. uh they're like about to go to bed or just like talking in bed, and it's a bunch of like, I like that your mom's asking me these things, and they kind of go over the questions, which is like good healthy conversation. So then Virginia's like, come on, keep asking me, and he's like, I don't know, I can't think of like anything, and she's like, politics. And Virginia affirms abortion and gay rights. We love you, Virginia. Thank you for that. Seriously, the women being so liberal and the men being kind of like, I'm not passionate, like, is such a key look and like a highlight into the fact that like women just will be more freaked out and will have to have these conversations explicitly with like anyone like we don't talk to, because like but Devin of course is more neutral about it, and he's giving more just like conservative, and he's saying, do you feel like people vote like with their religion in mind? Which is like, I feel like a very conservative talking point of like, I vote with my religion. I'm gonna voting. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not voting a rapist in the name of God. I'm not voting a rapist in the name of Jesus Christ. What are we saying? Okay. No, let me not. Somebody's already clicked off, but you were probably not gonna feel welcome here anyway. Anyway, um, Devin's take kind of felt like a little bit of a half-baked I can see why you would be liberal, but at the same time there are religious people that need to keep their values in mind too. Which was interesting. And I do like that Virginia brought it up, and she was, like reaffirming like, this is why I believe this. And it's kind of just like, okay. So weird also. It's so not weird, but it's typical and it's annoying. Okay. We have Ben and Sarah. Sarah's sister and her partner meet them. I genuinely, for a minute, like for more than a minute, thought that Sarah's sister was the one with the brown hair because she was talking so much. Like she was speaking to her like the way that a sister would. So I guess Sarah's sister's partner is close to Sarah, because even though like Sarah's sister is the one that looks more like her, I was like, okay, these two are like bantering though. And it wasn't until a later scene when they brought up the sister, I was like, oh, that's not your sister. That's your sister's partner, even though you literally look more like, wow. Anybody else have nobody else was thinking that. No, everybody was probably like, girl, that literally looks like literally okay. um so then they all go over the whole entire like, I'm okay with his religion, he's okay with the gays, like we're all good here, even though I was stressed about it because he just gets to be that. And then the sister, or no, not the sister, the sister's partner is like, you guys, like, I think it's one thing to say that, but it's also a thing to acknowledge that like she is thinking more, she's keeping more things in mind as it relates to politics that you don't have to, because you have like the privilege of being in this position to like not give a damn, to not care. She didn't say that, and they both basically just affirmed that they're both more fiscally conservative, socially liberal, which I think is, you know what, there are a lot of things that I'm saying like that's such a Midwestern thing, and that might, I don't think that that's just a Midwestern thing. I think that's just more of a common thing. um is it more like, is it Midwestern, or is it just like a wider thing, you know what I mean? Because I would never be out here being like, I'm, okay. Dave and Lauren, okay, so they go bowling. Immediately Dave is like, my friends would lose their mind if they saw me doing this. Okay with the friends, because it's like, I understand, friends mean so much to us in our life. Like, I get it. It's good that he has strong ties and he cares about his community, but like, has he ever just had a conversation where he's just been introspective on himself and like not had to bring up anybody else for external validation ever? I would like to know. And I think it's very interesting that like it's always with the friends. Um so they're doing bowling, they're having a bunch of fun. Uh I don't even know what to say because it's so annoying that I'm gonna go back to the stupid friends and family pressure conversation. Um Lauren, so they get into the conversation again. It's like the same exact conversation that's rehashed. Also, this is why I think that Dave is annoying, not because he's like hyper, like annoying in like an ADHD way, but like he's annoying in like a I'm gonna bring this one topic up and we're gonna talk about it for the 5,000th time as if it's the first, and you're just like stop talking about this. It's actually kind of torturous. It brings up the stupid family thing. And Lauren, I like felt Lauren's soul in those scenes because she literally was just like kind of like going around being like playing with her hair, being like visibly uncomfortable, unsettled. I would be too. I'd be like, I'm gonna walk out and never come back because ugh. So Lauren kind of ends the conversation with like not ends, but brings up the whole, if you don't want your sister to meet me and you don't see it with me, let me know so I'm not wasting my time. Thank you, Lauren, because that is what we were all thinking is like, Lauren, stop wasting your time. Stop wasting time. So Dave is he does the whole like, you want to go somewhere? And I thought that they meant like off camera because I feel like they were having this conversation a lot on camera and that I was just going to have to end off camera. But no, they actually go somewhere else. This like random building. What building are they in? And they go somewhere to rehash the whole entire thing. Well, so when we got back, I got a million messages about we know. We know. She knows. Everyone knows. I like I'm so frustrated for Lauren. Literally take a shot every single time. David's like, well, my sister's not happy. Oh my god, you're getting your stomach pumped. You're getting your stomach pumped. um, I just like, what does he think like watching this back? I hope he's embarrassed. I hope he's embarrassed because it's embarrassing. Um, like they're just rehashing this whole entire thing and Lauren's like, well, yeah, but if they could have just met me, like and he's like, I know. And also that's another thing about the fact that about this where I feel like David's just annoying is that I feel like he's affirming her because she's saying like, I just don't think this matters, I think I'm trying really hard for you. And he's like, you are trying really hard for me and this but it also does matter to me. And the fact that you did this 2 weeks ago is just I don't know if I can get over it. But you're a great, and I keep telling everybody that like you're the best, you're perfect, but they can't get over it. So like I'm kind of thinking like I don't know if I can. I want to punch myself just thinking about it. I was gonna say something more drastic, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to hurt myself even more than I already have listening to this conversation. So Lauren's basically like, okay, what are we doing really? And Dave's kind of like, well, I mean, I kind of and they end it. Thank goodness. Oh, good grief. Cause it's just so it's so much BS. Genuinely, even if you are somebody that's just not at ease with the idea of hooking up with somebody previous to being on the show, honestly that should have been brought up in the pods and hashed out there. If it's such a big deal to you, it should have been brought up and dead. And the fact that she was like, this is such minuscule BS. I also forgot to talk about that. They're like getting a little, it's like the conversation has escalated to her being like, I don't think that you really want to like be with somebody in a partnership because if you did, this would be minuscule BS and we would move over it. And he's like, oh my, this is minuscule. I think that that's unfair for you to come at me. And then I think it's also BS because your dad, dude, your dad is out here not wanting to be on camera, and then he called my dad out for not wanting to be on camera. But it's like, your dad is when I get on a camera. Girl. um, so many like little BS little issues that like don't matter at all. Um, like, God forbid. I'm just happy they've ended it. And I stay happy until we get to the stupid part where they get up and meet up with everybody. Okay. Everyone goes snow tubing. Very Minnesota, very Midwest. The first time I ever went snow tubing was in Minnesota. The last time I ever went snow tubing was in Minnesota. It's a fun thing. It's such a fun, and they had a lot of fun, and I was really envying them. I love the little place that they went to. Nothing is dramatic because they all looked each other up beforehand, you know? And that's the annoying thing about Love is Blind in these later seasons is just nobody's having fun anymore post pods about like seeing people. You know, nobody's being like, oh my god, I didn't know that he looked better. He's more my type, because everybody's vetting each other the minute they get their phones. And I feel like they didn't do that the first couple seasons. No, they didn't. They didn't, because it was a shock when everybody saw each other for the first time, and it takes the magic out. It does take the magic out a little bit. Okay, so Lauren catches up with Molly, and Lauren is like, listen, a lot has happened. He ended things with me because of the BS my situationship, and Molly just keeps backing her up. And she's like, one of the things that stood out to me that was so funny was Molly is bringing up how she looked Dave up, and she's like, so I looked him up and I went to like his selfies, and I was like, yeah, I'm good. Because yeah, Molly is aware of the fact that this man looked like somebody's uncle. This man looks like somebody's uncle. I literally was like, yeah, Molly, like, if she even was like, yeah, I looked him up and like realized like that's somebody's uncle. That would, oh my god. Like, because I've been dying for somebody to say that. I've been dying for somebody to acknowledge this man is not the person that he thinks he is. I've been dying. Um, yeah, like, thank you, Molly, because I just have been going a little crazy that nobody's really acknowledged that. And I really wish like all the girls had given their take on Dave, because he really played himself up like something. Anyway, she also brings up the fact that like when they were at the bar, which is also weird that they were at a bar and Molly just like happened to see him. I swear these pod people just, no, they probably did plan to meet up and Dave like got wind of, I don't know. Whatever. I was gonna say it's kind of crazy. Like pod people just like ran into each other at bars. They probably met up and like planned to do it. Um, so Molly also was like, there was like a girl on him. She was like gonna tell on him, but then she was like, no, we broke up, so whatever. I like that Molly had her back. That's really what it comes to. So we see Britt and Devon talk, and Britt comes right out and is like, you look like a little kid. Oh my god. Like, she's so much energy, and she's so much more goofy in a way that like is very apparent that her and Virginia are very different people. And I feel like, were they more goofy in the pods and more loud in the pods? Because Devon, I feel like once he stepped out of the pods, or like Devon just like as he exists, feels like he's operating at like 70% energy, you know? I feel like there's like a dead, I keep saying this, but there's like a deadness to him in Virginia that is, I don't know. He's not goofy, but like Britt feels more like alive, but she was also like kind of unhinged. No, it felt unhinged compared to him, because she was like, I don't know, like, why you were giving me a hard time. Everybody's a little gay, and he like did not catch that. What she was saying. He literally was like, no, he didn't even laugh. He literally was like, everybody's a little. What are you? It felt weird and uncomfortable. Um, so thank God they didn't end up together, because that felt weird. Okay, like, Madison walks in. And then Megan and Mason walk in. What? Madison, I just have to give it to her. She looks good. She looks good. And the pink works for her. The pink is really working for her. I wonder when she decided to do that. Anyway, so then we have Megan Mason walking together. Girl, what? Megan Mason detail the fact that they hit each other up and they did their own little reveal. That's beautiful. Like that's so wholesome. And somebody recorded it. We saw their own little video. I wonder if they did that with like intention to show the show and that like Netflix would repost it on their Instagram. No, things can be beautiful and wholesome and without me speculating. Anyway, so Madison came for to like draw blood. It felt like that, but we didn't get anything. So Madison came in. She was like, "I'm just really happy I never gave Mason a chance because I just the way that he handled things was shady." It's like, whoa, wow, holy cow, like, Alex walks in. There's so much happening. There's Madison, um, just like has beef with everyone, and she's catching Lauren up. And she said, "So many has happened. Me, Alex immediately messaged me, and he's like, oh my god. And I think that's because it's because of the way that I look." She said, "We met up at the airport, but before we met up at the airport, she was like, Didn't we just break up? Didn't we just break up?" And he's like, "At least come, let me give you a hug." And so then at the airport, whatever, they reunite. But it's also weird because it feels a little bit manipulative. Madison being like, "Well, he wanted to message me, and so then he like saw me at the airport, and then like he was telling me." It's like, did you not reciprocate anything though? Like you're saying like he's doing all, but like you were still down. You were still down. Um, it just, okay. I recorded my thoughts on Madison because I felt like it was really refreshing to have somebody who's been through a decent amount and be very honest and transparent about the things that they've been through. But also my main issue with her was just that like it was weird that she was in this little relationship with Alex, like they were boyfriend and girlfriend, but she was still like attached to Mason and was mad at the fact that they had to let each other go. When it's like, you have a boyfriend, like why are you this upset? That he like just uncommitted to you. Like it was a little weird, it was shifty, yeah, but the spirit in which she came at him with the anger, like it just didn't, it felt misplaced. um but now I feel like it's really like a blatant like showing of like this just feels like there's a lot of just anger around, I still see her as like a person who added a lot of value to this show and showed a lot of realness. And like honestly, the way that she grew up, I feel like people should have a lot more empathy. Like what do you expect not to say that you shouldn't expect like respect and like kindness and I don't know, like health out of people, but just to say, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people are like, well, Madison grew up with people that chose drugs over her routinely and has not had a like healthy a lot of healthy habits or anything. And I people feel like people are putting her feet to the um what's it called, fire, a lot. But it's like I'm kind of just looking at the show from like the entertainment value aspect, and I don't know, knowing what we know about Madison, how could you expect anything like she's not going to come in here and shit up, you know what I mean? um so I left off where I was at. Alex, she says that Alex, when they met up, or I guess even maybe after, like I think it was around the time that they met up, says, "You'll never guess who messaged me, Meg." And Meg, before even knowing that we were engaged, and before even knowing anything, um, Meg said that Alex was her number one. And so they're just, sitting doing the talking, and um it's just like this is really crazy because of course like Meg and Mason are over there being all happy together, and then Madison is just over there like fuming, just like spilling. And then Alex doesn't like say anything except for talks to Devon, is like, "Yo man, there's so much drama." And Devon's like, "If you feel comfortable, like you can help me. If you feel comfortable," with his dead self. um but it's crazy because we don't even get anything other than what Madison is saying to Lauren. We don't get any conversation with Alex. We don't get any conversation with Mason. We don't get anything. Oh, also, yeah, that was like the F Mason thing that Alex said um when Madison was like, what do you really think about Mason? And Alex was like, no, F Mason. I don't really feel like doesn't feel like I don't know. I feel like we just need to get more conversation. Maybe they'll do the reunion. Maybe that's why they didn't talk about it there, because the reunion was going to unveil things and they need to leave. They need to have something for the reunion to talk about, because everyone's going to be so fake Minnesota nice that they're going to be like, listen, let's talk about this thing that Madison brought up. You know, they need to talk about something. Okay, we have Molly and David talk. Why do I switch between calling him David and Dave? Because I think he got introduced to us as David, and then she just called him Dave as like a nickname, and now we just see him as Dave. I don't know. So Molly is basically like, okay, so one of the things that we talked about was you said that you push people away, and now that it's happening, like, what the heck? What do you have to say for yourself? She doesn't say that exactly, but you know. Um, he's like, no, I didn't push her away. It was just too much drama. Okay. Hey, my sister didn't want me to get engaged. Okay. And my sister didn't want me to get engaged. Can we let our grown siblings be grown? Can we let our grown siblings be grown? Even my sister, before I got married, was like, listen, just you don't have to like you don't have to do all that. She was even just like suggesting to me, like, you can wait a little bit. You don't have to be young and married. Like, you don't, but she was suggesting things to me. And like, it would have even been more rightful for her to be like, please try your hardest not to do this because you're literally 21. Like, you don't need to be thinking about this. But she let me be just a grown person, even though I was 21, like getting engaged and everything. Um, his sister, like, I don't know how much of him is, putting too much importance on this, and how much of this is like a real thing of like her verbatim saying, don't don't actually do this, as opposed to like the pressure that he feels from her. Molly, basically, the whole entire conversation ends kind of her being like team Lauren, because like, when was the last time that you hooked up with somebody? And he's like, I don't know. Yeah, you do. Because I felt like that was kind of just like that's an easy out. Be like, I just don't know. I just am so annoyed by him. So then we go to the stupid other note that I made. Dave pulls Lauren. Ew. I'm gonna I'm gonna try to skate through this because I need to end this. David admits that he's in the wrong, saying that his ego got in the way and everything. It's genuinely too late for that. You just broke up, you guys. Ugh. He lightly guilt trips. Says, I just wanted to text you. I don't care about my friends and family. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. The whole situation feels so dumb. And I just feel bad because Lauren is just wasting her time. She's just wasting her time, bruh. Um, my sister sent me a meme that I wish I could show if I was editing this, but I'm not. But that was literally like, if you guys watch The Office, Lauren looks like Pam, Dave looks like Roy, and then they said that Molly is in comparison to that one person that Jim was dating, the hotter version of Pam. Please. Oh, and it's just so good, dude. Dave is very much Roy. With the stupid, except for Roy's brother is like his sister. So we have Love is Blind goes to church. Ben and Sarah sit together. It feels so uncomfortable because I can just tell that like Sarah's visibly reacting to things. Also, this is such like a typical. The message was so typical about like, I feel like I'm not sharing enough with it. And I grew up as a pastor's kid, and I'm now currently kind of in the same situation of Sarah, of being like, I don't feel comfortable with like traditional things and traditional values, and I would like that to be questioned and kind of move over the fact that I am progressive and a lot of things in church are not progressing. Anyway, so, Love is Blind goes to church. That was felt weird. I don't know, but I mean, I'm happy that these conversations are happening because they're real life. Like they are translations from a real life, and they're not just like these silly little like picnics. It's like I'm going to church, and I'm also going to tell you about how that made me uncomfortable. Like that's great. So we have Taylor and Daniel are doing like a Christmas thing. I came with the Christmas. I also have not talked about Taylor and Daniel at all. Oh my god. Yeah, they just did not stand out to me, honestly, this whole entire time. But yeah, so they do a Christmas, like I think that Daniel and Taylor are great. It's just that the whole like stain of the Instagram follow thing just is making you feel like, is Taylor actually in this? Because she was skeptical of him. They do a Christmas thing. They're gonna give a little ornaments out as little wedding favors. That's actually really cute and beautiful. I just can't stand the Christmas talk. As somebody who's not very Christmas spirited, to me it's kind of like, ugh. Okay, so we have Devon and Virginia talking prenup. So Virginia's basically like, I do want this prenup to be signed. I do think the prenup is important. And Devon is like, how would you explain that to people about they're going to ask and push back on this? He's like, well, I would just say blah, 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 blah. And it's very clear that, Virginia is very like clear in this and stands tall, stands firm in this. And Devon is like wanting to support her, but is a little bit skeptical. Like you can just tell. Um, we come back to that. Well, no, let me just clear that out. Okay. Devin basically is like, you know what? I had a family lawyer look this over. We talked about it with my mom, and this looks good. It makes me feel good and better, which is like a very real take. Like you could have been like, you know what? I'm just gonna go along with it. Like I'd feel fine, and then end up in like a unstable situation. Yeah. So Taylor and Daniel go have their little last date, or like one of the last dates on an ice rink. That's so fun. I did like their little I like, you can just tell that they care about each other and they affirm each other in very healthy ways. I think that was really nice. So then we have Joey and Monica. Their last date is at a conservatory, and it is just so crazy to think that the sister is like, we're nappers and you don't match our energy. You too much energy. She has the same exact amount of energy. They work so well together. But it's also interesting that she was like, I just want him to affirm me 100%. Because I feel like of all the people, like he's just right there with her. But I mean, I also get it. It can be probably nerve wracking to know, like, I don't want to be embarrassed at the end of the day. Like, is he gonna say yes and come out? Who knows? Okay, then we have Sarah and Ben. They are together and talk church stances, and she's like, so how does your church feel about the LGBTQIA? They rocking with it or no? And he's like, honestly, I don't even know. I never paid attention. I just don't pay attention, which is like not new information. Duh. And she's like, how do you not know? He's like, I don't know. I didn't keep out. I keep out of it, you know. And um, she's kind of talking about the fact that like one of the topics of church was just that God made people in His image, and like if a transgender child was going to come to, that she just had an issue with that because she believes in things that basically were not being affirmed in the church. And so Ben's kind of like, you know what? It's weird because Ben, like, I think that deep down he just does not want to like ever get into a conflict that's political or religious, so he'll just agree with like the bare bones things of what she's saying, but deep down will not like be real about the things that he actually disagrees with, and he's not willing to go there because it makes him uncomfortable, which is very, very Midwestern, very Minnesota too. um like a lot of conservative people, I think, don't think that they're like legitimately conservative when they just like claim to just stay out of things, but that's like actively adding to regression, because if you're staying out of things but you're still going to church and claiming that you are doing things for good, you're not. You're just complacent, and we're not actually like learning things and growing towards things. Like Ben to me is somebody who just will go along with whatever feels the most comfortable, will go along with whatever feels like the most neutral, but doesn't realize that like what Jesus stood for was not being like a bystander, was not being just a neutral party who just was like, I, you know, like I observe. I don't really get into you gotta get into things. You gotta have like for real conversations. And I feel like these conversations are just like glazed over. Anyway, um, so and that's just a stance of like some churchgoers too. Is just like I love God and I love our mission, but like I'm not gonna talk about the controversial things because it's good to just stay out. It's not what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? So then we have the bachelor and bachelorette parties. The guys get to go to is that like the Vikings training area? And like this little like stadium, not stadium thing. I don't know. And at the beginning, didn't say like a stadium thing, like the very outside of the thing. And then the girls get to go to Mall of America, and they're just like elderly people. That was so funny. That was so funny. I love a little humorous event. I like that these girls have personality, even though this is the most boring season, you know. I feel like everybody got like a fun little fair shake out of the Bachelor and Bachelorette, which they haven't in the past. Oh, they have not in the past. I also love the Mall of America. I went to the Mall of America with my husband a while ago. I actually still have a vlog up if y'all want to see. But my favorite ride is the orange ride that they went on. It used to be called the Pepsi ride. I think now it's called something else. Whatever, does not matter. Yeah, because in Mall of America that thing used to be called Camp Snoopy Land or something, and now it's just called like Nickelodeon Land. I love you, Minnesota, but oh, okay. So then we get to honestly, I'm skipping over a lot of things. We get to the wedding dress try-ons. I really don't care about them. Like, oh my god, like the feeling of just oh girls try on beautiful dresses and then like a relative will say something really touching and everybody feels really emotional. I couldn't like I just there's something about it that is so skippable to me. I had to watch this on 1.5 speed because I was just not I'm not into it. It just did not stand out to me. Especially the guys like trying on the tuxedo. Oh, couldn't care. Then we get to Ben and Sarah's wedding. um Frick the girl who spoiled it for me because I already know what's gonna happen at the next episode. But basically, we kind of leave off on that on whether or not Sarah and Ben will say no or yes. And yeah, let me know how you felt about this. I'm kind of just still simmering on everything. Very interesting conversations, I will say. And yeah, questions for the comments. Basically, how are we feeling about the Dave and Lauren thing? Do you think that you can argue? Is it okay to argue in relationships? Because some people think that it's not. Like I know my grandpa who lives in Minnesota will like consistently reiterate like we never argued. We didn't argue with my late grandmother, but then he'll like bring up conversations that are clearly arguments. So I think some people genuinely think it's not okay to argue because like they think it's like a sign of a poor relationship, but it's just like it like brings you value out of what you and your partner ultimately do want, and like sometimes you have to work through things and argue through them to get to like the better side of it, because arguments and tough conversations come from somewhere, so like we have to figure out like what that is. um yeah, how are you feeling about Sarah and Ben and this whole kind of hesitancy towards church going, towards being progressive, towards his avoidance? Megan, Mason, and Madison and Alex. I did not address the whole Alex thing. I don't know what the heck is going on with Alex. um, I know there's allegations against him. I am hesitant to say this, but I don't want to really look into it. Not to say that I don't want to like avoid but I just like I don't care about him, and I don't really care about like the additional like stuff going on with him if he's off of the show. um I don't know, is that wrong for me not really to care to want to look into these allegations? I think it's wrong maybe if I'm like the girl's lying, I don't care about anything but what he says, I think that's wrong, but I just don't care about what's coming out. Oh, I don't that feels wrong to say. I don't know. Let me know wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, whatever time of day it is. I hope you have a valuable, insightful, beautiful morning, afternoon, or night. And I will see you next time for the next couple episodes next week.